Thank you, Mr. Chair. My first question deals with air transportation. In Europe, in the States, most countries have taken measures to force air carriers. State assistance is dependent on refunding their clients who have canceled tickets. So the minister has said that if they had to refund passengers, they would not be able to survive. It's been done in France and other countries already. Why don't you force air carriers to refund passengers so that they get access to federal assistance? First question. And go ahead.
Question, Chair, or should I wait till the second part?
Please go ahead.
So with regard to the voucher policies in the United States and in Europe, both the United States Department of Transportation and the European Commission had indicated that airlines would be absolutely required to provide refunds. I will say that our understanding is, to date at least, is that has not been fully enforced in the United States. And although the European Commission did take the position they took, a number of key European Union members are not requiring, at least at this point, their carriers to actually provide refunds.
Yes, well, do you believe that indeed it could create an economic problem for the airlines like Air Canada and Air Transat, as we know that Air Canada was keeping $2.6 billion for pre-purchased tickets and $8.9 million in deposits and deferred revenues for Air Transit? Why not require a refund to passengers before getting access to any financial help from the federal government?
Chair, I will note that our sense of the economic situation of the airlines is that it could be significantly problematic for them to provide refunds at this time. It's, I think, important to note that they have really not really been obtaining any revenues for some period of time now, and obviously the immediate forward picture does not also look particularly great for airlines to repay to increase revenues. So to suddenly require paying out the refunds all at once, which would be in the billions of dollars, could have very significant economic consequences for airlines. It would obviously vary among the airlines, and given the amount of outstanding vouchers that they do have, but we do believe the economic consequences could be serious indeed.
Yes, but Mr. Hanson, have you seen the books of those companies to say that you have an exact idea of the impact that it could have on them? And what do you believe of the impact that it has on consumers who don't have $2.6 billion in their pockets to use in whichever way they want? This money is not Air Canada's money. It belongs to consumers, to clients who did not get the service they paid for. Do you agree?
I think I would be clear from the outset that I absolutely understand, and I in no way mean to diminish the materiality of this for individual Canadians who have booked travel that they cannot use right now or be refunded for. I would say in terms of airlines and their economic impacts, obviously the airlines themselves have been up to a certain point clear about the economic impact on their companies, and you can see it by the cutbacks that have happened and so forth. Beyond, I obviously wouldn't be in a position to speak to anything that is commercial confidential information from the airlines. I think it's lastly just probably worth noting that under existing legislative authorities, were it even desirous to do so, it is not something that the government could just go in and legally demand that refunds be provided based on existing authorities. The existing airline tariffs never contemplated an event of this kind. Our air regulations, our passenger regulations are premised on the idea of airlines being responsible for helping people to complete their journey, which is impossible right now, obviously. So the refund provisions were ultimately dependent on the individual tariffs.
Yes, but Mr. Hanson, did you demand from these airlines, these air carriers, to see their financial data, to think about the thing, to consider the problem as it is in reality, or did you take as granted what they were telling you? Would you be open to seeing their accounting books, to send them to the Auditor General so that we can make sure?
Can't speak to being able to legally require private companies to provide their books. I would say.
Well, excuse me, when you're providing financial assistance, the state should be able to demand things in return. How come we are not demanding anything, and that we're taking for granted that $2.6 billion that are kept from consumers who, for some, only travel once in their lifetime, and we're telling them within the next year or two, maybe you'll have another trip, but we don't know how long the pandemic will last for those travelers. So why not give them a refund? This money does not belong to the air carriers. It belongs to the consumer, not the carrier.
Chair, I think it's one thing to note is to date, actually, no, the assistance that the member speaks of, so for example, a large employer emergency facility financing. There is an application process for that. That process is conducted obviously on commercial confidential bases. There is at present no requirement that airlines undertake a specific activity related to refunds in order to be eligible for that facility.
Merci, Monsieur Thériault.
Thank you.